As we've travelled along the seafront, have you noticed the lack of garish and bright facades of these hotels? That's because the owners are required to use a pastel colour chart provided by the powerful Mostyn estate when choosing a colour for the outside of the buildings. Thousand masons and craftsmen from all over England to complete the project. In total, the castle has 8 towers, originally roofed with shingle or slate. Once completed, the castle walls would have been lime-washed or whitewashed, some traces of which can still be seen on its walls today. What an incredible sight it must have been, standing gleaming white at the base of the dramatic backdrop of the Llandudno mountains. Before we enter Conwy, look to our right and slightly ahead and you'll see the town's quayside. At the end of the terrace of houses closest to us, you might spot a little red house, or then again, you may not, for it is in fact the smallest house in Great Britain, just 72 inches wide and 122 inches high. Century to accommodate the flow of traffic to Bangor and Anglesey. It is very narrow, as you can see, so please, no standing and keep arms and hands well inside the bus. 21 semicircular towers spaced out along them. Removable wooden platforms would have spanned the gaps between them, so that in the event of a hostile attack, the platforms could be removed, creating a break in the circuit, isolating those sections that were under siege. Back inside the town walls now in Berry Street, once called Burial Street, because here many of the victims of the plague of 1665 were buried. Ahead of the bus, we see once again the magnificent castle. You can just see some of the traces of the limestone wash on the walls, and as we leave Conwy, look to the base of the castle walls at the oblong holes. They were known as latrines, and there are no prizes for guessing what came out of there. Any invader would have. Look to our right at the 2 bridges. The furthest away from us is a tubular railway bridge, and closest to us is Thomas Telford Road Bridge. Telford was a brilliant engineer and took great care in the building of this bridge by dipping the metal in linseed oil to preserve it. Llandudno is built on an isthmus, which is basically a finger of land pointing out into the sea, and it has a west shore and a north shore. If you look ahead of you and above the rooftops, you can see the most distinctive landmark in town, the Great Orme, a huge lump of Carboniferous limestone, some 300 million years old. In the 3rd century, the Romans, marching forth from their legendary Castra Diva fortress at Chester, found the Orme to be a great source of copper, and some of the copper mines are still here, although no longer used, after the Romans and the Vikings also mined for copper here. Orme is a Viking word meaning sea dragon or sea monster. There are two fantastic ways to visit the Great Orme, either on our vintage coach tour around the Marine Drive or open top mini coach tour, which takes in both the Marine Drive as well as its summit. These both operate daily from the Pier Bus 52 for the Very Reverend Henry Liddell, Dean of Christ Church in Oxford. Liddell stayed here during college breaks with his family, his retinue of servants and important and privileged guests. One of Liddell's daughters was called Alice, and this is the Alice on which one family has dominated the life of the promenade for well over 100 years, and no holiday or even day out to Llandudno would be complete without a visit to Codman's Punch and Judy Show. Richard Codman arrived here in his horse-drawn gypsy caravan in 1864. During his stay, one of his horses died suddenly, leaving him and his family stranded. So Richard spent his time whittling driftwood from the beach, and whilst doing this, had the idea of carving heads and doing a Punch and Judy show, something he had seen during his travels, and remarkably, it's still operated by Richard Codman's descendants. This is the stop for Penderyn Whisky and the Homefront Museum. On our right now is the J.D. Wetherspoon Public House. It stands on the original site of the town's market hall. Later, it became the Palladium Theatre. And if you take a closer look at this splendidly restored and renovated building, you can see how it resembles the famous London Palladium. I do hope you have enjoyed your tour of Llandudno and Conwy. Thank you for joining us, and of course, many thanks to our driver. Remember to hold on to your tickets, as they will allow you a discount off any other sightseeing tour, either here in the UK or on any of our tours worldwide. If you are staying with us to continue the tour, we will be departing again very shortly. Diolch yn fawr iawn am ddewis City Sightseeing, a gobeithio cewch chi siwrne ddiogel a dref. Thank you again for choosing City Sightseeing today, and I wish you a safe journey home.